This is Marquivas Furious Nias, and you're listening to Deeper Than Music Radio.
Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the new is deeper than music. Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the new is deeper than music. Deeper than music.
What up, what up, what up? This is your man Furious, Deeper Than Music Radio. Behind every great song, there's an even greater story. I'd like to say what's up to everybody in podcast land, internet land here on this Wednesday. It's a nice warm day here in the DFW area. Today, we have a very special guest, actress, singer, activist, and currently promoting her upcoming album. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mila Jam here on Deeper Than Music Radio. How you doing, Mila?
What's good, everybody? How's it going? I'm good.
So how's everything going? I know that you're currently getting ready to promote your upcoming release.
I'm running like a renegade. It's crazy, but I'm doing great. I'm really focused, and I'm giving birth to this project called Bruised that I'm very excited to share with everyone. And yes, I have a very big EP release party tomorrow.
Wow. And I'm doing some research. I see that you're a very busy person, songwriter, dancer, actress, activist.
It's all live, all of it. None of it's real. It's all fake.
Fake news.
Fake news. I don't believe the hype. No, I'm really busy. I've always been busy. That's kind of been my thing. I grew up being a busy kid and a focused kid. And I guess I would just say I'm really passionate about what I do. Like I love the arts. I love storytelling. I love performing, and it's just been my passion since since I began breathing in this world.
So when you first started, when you knew that you had a love for the arts, what was the first craft that you worked at? Was it dancing first, singing, acting?
You know, it's interesting. I actually started, okay, this is not off record, but like I actually started in dance. But that was because when I was very, very little, like when I was 5 or 6, my mom put me in some dance classes, but I only did it for a short time. I didn't do it for very long. But I grew up in the church. So I grew up singing in the church, singing solos, just traveling with the church choir. And so it was just a combination of singing and dancing. And then the acting thing sort of came in, I would say, around my 6 or 7, 8. And I was auditioning for TV shows. I mean, I actually was scouted to go out to LA, to Hollywood. But my mom, she didn't feel like that was really the path we should take, because she was a single mother.
Okay.
And it was really tough, to really trust and believe someone when they're saying, bring your child to Hollywood, I'm going to make them a star. And she was like, I don't know these people. So she kind of just went with her gut. And she was like, I think it'd be better just to, let's just focus on living. And I moved to, I was actually born in Illinois, Chicago.
Oh, okay.
I was raised in Atlanta. And so in Atlanta is where, outside of Atlanta, a small town called Columbus, Georgia. And shout out to C-Town. And that's where I started doing lots of theater, regional theater and local theater. I was in every show through all of grade school. I was constantly in rehearsals and constantly in some production.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I know, like you said, so it started off with dance.
Yeah, so it started out with a little bit of a taste of dance, and then it actually went into singing in the church choir, and then that led to theatrical, engagements, which also led to training in dance training. But before I had official dance training, I was a gymnast. I was a gymnast for 3 years of my life.
Wow.
So I focused on that, and that gave me my agility and strength to really become a good dancer. And so
wow.
it all kind of like, it all kind of rolled into one.
So you are a triple threat. So as far as the music,
I'm not threatening anyone. I really am not. Not threatening anyone.
So as far as the music, like for people that are international or people that haven't heard your music, like how would you describe Mila Jam? Like what is your sound and what are you bringing to music?
Mila Jam is a feeling. I think the music I create always has a message. It's heavily pop inspired, but I think it's soulful pop music that it speaks to different people in different ways. And I think that each song that I've recorded has something special and unique about it that's, like my sound and my vocal ability. It's like, I feel like when you hear something by me, you're like, oh, that sounds like Mila Jam. Like, I think I have a distinct sound quality to my voice.
Okay.
And even as a professional singer, I feel like I'm always growing and I'm always trying new things and I'm always learning new things about my voice and my vocal range. And I've just worked really hard on, I just love learning about that, physically with my body and dance and vocally with my voice. And I think my spirit is really what you hear in my music. I think it's a feeling. And a lot of it is uplifting. A lot of it is about self-empowerment. A lot of it is about loving who you are and accepting yourself and authenticity. That's what Mila Jam is all about.
And as far as your music, who would you say influences as far as music wise?
There's so many, but I am a child of the 90s. I love 90s R&B music. And some of I am the love child of Janet Jackson.
Okay.
And Tina Turner and Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey and Brandy. I love R&B music, soul music. I love dance music. I love house music. I also love funk music. I grew up on, I'm a really big fan of Nika Costa. A lot of people don't know or talk about her, but she's someone that I really grew up looking at and listening to just because of her fire and her energy and her vibe is so dope. There's this artist named Kina. She's no longer around, but she was like one of the dopest artists. I used to love her in the early 2000s. I also love, Maxwell, and I love some of the 90s R&B singers like Tony Terry.
Oh, and, yeah. And it's funny, when you brought them up, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you made me think of the 90s. We had, R&B was very poppy, and then also neo soul. And then I wanted to point out your top three, Brandy, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, all three of them have very distinctive voices. Like you hear the first note, you know who it is.
You know who it is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's just the catalog is so vast. One of my favorite Whitney Houston song, one of my favorite songs, Whitney Houston songs is a song she didn't even like. She didn't even want to sing, which is Shoop from the Waiting to Exhale.
Waiting to Exhale. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite songs. And I like one of my favorite Mariah Carey songs is Music Box, off of her first album.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like the vintage, Against All Odds. That cover was just one of my favorites. And Brandy, I mean, I'm just crazy about, I Want to Be Down. I was crazy about, she has a song called, what's that song? Memories of Yesterday, Loneliness My Way to Say. It's on her first album. And it's called Love Isn't Love or something like that. It's one of my favorite songs. And I actually met Brandy once. And it was like meeting the Bible in person, the vocal Bible.
Wow.
In person. It was amazing moment, magical moment. She was super sweet, super cool.
And I've actually, when her first album came out, I remember I was in junior. They had a concert. It was Brandy, Boyz II Men, and Subway. And
Subway. Yes.
Yeah. And she performed, and she her live, like Boyz II Men and Brandy. I was like, man, this sounds like the album. And she did The Greatest Love of All. Of course, she loved Whitney Houston. Yeah, and she broke it down. So I have queued up your song Glass Castle. Can you give us the story behind this song before we play it?
Yeah, Glass Castles is it's kind of like an empowering, like, fight ballad. And it's primarily about the walls that we've kind of got to, the glass castles are like we have to shatter the ideas, we put on ourselves and that other people put on us. We have to, like, break down our walls. It's about finding vulnerability so that we can move forward and grow in our spaces of, like, doubt and in times of need. It's not necessarily directly about a person, but it's just about, that is the transition especially in my EP, where I say the EP Bruise is about, there's a journey, there's about the pain is the beginning, and then the center is about finding yourself and learning that you can break free. And then the end of it is about what that looks like, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Wow. So this is a very, very powerful song about just building that self-empowerment and being. Yeah,
it's kind of like the movie montage when you see someone, like, starting to get their act together. They're working out really hard. They're boxing. They're, like, they're getting ready to turn it. And, like, it's not quite the victory song yet. It's like the song that's, like, getting them revved up to, like, get to that big, moment.
Okay. So here we have Mila Jam here on Deeper Than Music Radio, Glass Castle.
What up, what up? This is Matt James, all the way from Canada. How's she going, eh? And you're listening to Furious on Deeper Than Music.
Sunlight, I chose to walk along the edge. I'm here tonight. Breathe fire. I think I finally feel I'm home. I know this time. 'Cause there's never really words to say we're sorry. But I don't need apologies. Inside my glass castles, we break them down 'cause we refuse to bow to the knees of our enemies' crown. Yeah, yeah. Counted the cost and we're saving the lost. Anybody who wants to be found, break these castles. These castles. In between, I'm dancing on another wire. I'm tired of here. 'Cause we're human, and when we cut, we bleed the same true colors. And there's never really words to say we're sorry, but I don't need apologies. Inside my glass castles, we break them down 'cause we refuse to bow to the knees of our enemies' crown. Yeah, yeah. Count at the cost and we're saving the lost. Anybody who wants to be found.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mila Jam, Glass Castles here on Deeper Than Music Radio. Yeah, that's a very, very empowering song. Like that's a good song.
Yeah, we all got some fragility. We're all a little, fragile, and we got to find that sort of strength to kind of get through things that we're going through.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, what inspires you to create?
Honestly, I feel like I've seen a lot of things. I'm a very old soul, and I've experienced a lot of things, a lot of adversity. I grew up, I was very different growing up. Mm-hmm. So I was, I was bullied a lot and picked on a lot. And I never really understood, like, why people can harbor so much animosity towards other people, no matter what race they are, or what gender, or sexuality, or any of that stuff. And so as I lived through it, I'm just always inspired by, like, the emotional aspect of life, like how something makes us feel and why we feel that way. Yeah. When we're happy, like what is the catalyst, because I don't necessarily believe that happy is something that you can buy or that you can do to become happy. You have to sort of, you have to be in the moment. But when you're hurt, how does it feel to be hurt by someone or something? How does it feel to be loved by someone or something, including yourself? What does that look like? And so my inspiration is it comes from questioning a lot of things, why things are the way they are, why people are the way they are.
And it's funny you mentioned that, because now I wanted to ask you, like, because now, especially in this day and age right now, like I'm a fellow African American like you, so I know, I can relate to some the experiences, and even now I question, like, I feel like right now in our country we're in a very dark time, and I wanted to ask you, because you're one of those, you speak of hope, empowering. And, speak hope right now, because it's crazy right now, how do you feel, like, what are your thoughts on the current state of where we are right now in our country?
Right now, I think we all have, we all owe it to ourselves to pay attention, to not check out. This is like the most crucial time for us to educate ourselves. Educate what is really happening, from who and why, and learning about the people in our administration and in the government and in the White House, the people who are passing these laws. I have never been so into politics in my life. I don't really speak about government politics a lot, but I've been paying a lot more attention just to see, I can't really have an opinion if I don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
And I think people of color and, in our community, we've already been marginalized so much. We just want to find a reason to, wake up and have a good day. Yeah. But we have to continue to inform ourselves, like, on what's happening behind closed doors when we're not, looking left or looking right, when we're watching our favorite movies, when we're listening to our favorite songs. We're all checking out, and we all check out a lot, and that's a lot of what our government is all about. But I think it's important to pay attention. And I think it's important that we start to find ways to really embrace each other and love each other. I don't have the answers, but I know the answer isn't me coming after you.
Oh, yeah, and it seems...
me discriminating and holding, these grudges with you and our friends and our families. Like, it's just a crucial time for us to sort of come together as much as we can. Yeah. And I am also witnessing that even when someone of authority is in the wrong, that doesn't mean there's always justice. And we have to recognize that risk of, I've lived the most fearless life in nothing but a fearful experience. Like, everything that I've grown up in, has traumatized my DNA, like my body. Our bodies are just, traumatized from the fear that we've lived through, and I try to find fearlessness in that fear. the fear of walking down the street, the fear of being seen by someone, the fear of being judged, the fear of being attacked, the fear of being pulled over by the cops, the fear of all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, the only way I can sleep at night is to feel like I'm ready if something like that comes about. You know, I can't say, like, if you're in a car and you're getting pulled over by a cop, I can't say what you need to do, but I feel like we know what can happen.
Oh yeah,
And
things can go left.
Alert. I feel like we have to be, you know, just aware, and I don't know. Hopefully, like, we can get through whatever the situation is without being some volatile backlash.
And it's crazy how, for me, it's just like I sometimes think it can't get any worse. And then, like, today, actually, me and my boss was talking, and he's from Ireland. He's Irish, and he was like, "Mark, I can't even watch the news anymore." And I'm like, it's just the disregard. But I also wanted to ask you, in your career and everything that you've done to get to where you are now, what has been the most challenging moment in your career?
I don't think there's been one specific moment. I think there's a menagerie of moments that have happened, and I think because I have experienced a lot of tough things growing up and in my life, I tend to try to, like, forget those things when I get through them. You know, whatever it might be, like the struggle. The struggle is real. Like, whenever I overcome whatever it is I'm struggling to do or to gain, you know, if I'm on the other side of it, I'm like, I remember the feeling. I don't always remember the situation. Okay. So you just kind of like, I've learned from it. I've survived. Let's move. Let's keep it moving. And I try to survive, and I try to keep it moving, and try to keep moving forward. Okay. But, you know, I think the biggest thing for me is I've learned that no one is going to do for you what you want. Oh yeah. That's true. And I feel that way as a Black woman. I feel that way as an artist. I feel like, you know, there are people who can come in and out of your life and they give you that illusion. But, like, at the end of the day, when you're with yourself, by yourself, whatever you're desiring or need, you have, that is all in you to, like, go after and to control, and to gain from. You know, I can't sit here and wait for someone to give me a record deal. I can't wait for someone to, you know, hire me to do X, Y, and Z. And until that time comes, if it should be in my path, I just imagine, well, I really love this song. I really want to record it. I really love this project. I really want to do it. And the struggle for me is also, I you know, finance all of my own things. I produce all of my own things. So, you know, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I don't have money coming off of trees. Like, I literally involve myself with people who believe in the message and the work that I do. Yeah. I'm blessed in that sense that I have a lot of people who have vibed with me on the level of, like, we can create things together and we can support each other. And we just believe, like, I just believe that anything is impossible. And I'm just trying not to get distracted by all the, there's so many different distractions. And you remind me of this Common verse that I tell people. Common, one of his songs, he's like, opportunity knocked, but he didn't call before he came. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he opportunity. Doesn't call before he comes. Exactly. You just have to be ready when he shows up. What is the homework? What is the process? Exactly. You know? And I also wanted to ask, on the flip side, what has been your most rewarding moment in your career? It'll sound cliche, but honestly, when someone that I don't know says to me, I see you and keep going. I see you and I see what you're doing. I've noticed you. I noticed your work or your song or your video. And don't stop. Please don't stop. You know, artistically, I think it's very easy to get discouraged. Our egos get in the way of the process sometimes when you're not feeling your best. You know, it's a roller coaster. You know, and then, I mean, you know, anyone that is considered a genius in my book, it was never a streamlined, you know, it was never a linear experience of greatness. It was a roller coaster of turmoil, you know, and hell, and like, I'm going crazy and I can't get this, you know, lyric right, this key right, these words right, whatever. And then it kind of comes together if you breathe through it, and the masterpiece happens, but no one knows that it was hell to create.
No, they just see the output. They don't see the process.
Yeah, so people don't know the blood, sweat, and tears that I've put into all of the work that I've created over the years as an underground artist and as an independent artist.
So now I have queued up your song Bruised, which we referenced earlier. Can you give us the story behind the music, the song?
Yeah. Bruised is the bipolar toxicity we experience in relationships. And I say bipolar because there is the experience of having the joy and the fun and the goodness and the honeymoon and what someone makes you feel that's great, which also hinders you because you overlook the bad things, the red flags and the bad signs.
Yeah.
And it's about being torn. It's about singing, you know, I'm singing how this person is literally destroying me, but all I want him to do is to say he loves, you know, that you love me, and that all I want is you, and all I can think about is you. And there's such a back and forth, and it's a push and pull. And then you know, and at the end of it, I think we're all bruised. It's exhausting. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Mila Jam here on Deeper Than Music Radio, Bruised.
The coldest July anybody's ever seen, even colder than the berg that made the ship sink. In every area of my life you haunted me. The biggest mistake anybody's ever made. The day when I decided to become your slave. Only God knows the constant price that I have paid. But when you come to me, I can't resist this feeling. I forget about all that you have done to me. I can't escape this bliss. Too bad about it. That's what he says to me when I'm broken and when I'm torn, and I wanna hold his hand, but he won't, 'cause he never let me. That's why I hand up, 'cause I love him. The more I break up, so instead of breaking, rather take it. I'm so bruised. That's what he says to me, 'cause he knows that I'll always be around. So he'll break me down, 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 down. The fiercest winner anybody's ever known. Even fiercer than the man who slayed the giant with one stone. These guys are more brutal than you could ever know. I'm breaking 'cause I don't know how else to react. Oh, my baby treating me like a wicked woman. It's all I can do right now from breaking. 'Cause when you come to me, I can't resist this feeling. I
gentlemen, Mila Jam here on Deeper Than Radio Music, and that was Bruised. So, like, you do so much, and I want to, like, kind of circle back, and if you possibly can you give us a rundown of your body of work? Like, just so the fans know that you do a lot.
Yeah. So I grew up doing theater, regional theater. And then I moved to New York and I studied more theater. And then I went on tour with some Broadway theater and off-Broadway theater and traveled the world. Every country, every continent except for South America and Antarctica.
Wow.
And I was performing in shows, and I was realizing that I had so much to say and I wanted to accomplish and to do on my own as an individual. And then I stopped doing tours specifically to do some theatrical expressions. I created a character that was a YouTube sensation that some people might know of or have heard of before on YouTube. And I want to know who knows or doesn't know. But I used to do a lot of funny parody music videos. And through those videos, I grew up like a really large audience. And I realized that there's more to me than just being a comedian. It was like a way for me to...
So I think you're talking about Brittany Houston, right?
Yeah, Brittany Houston. Yeah.
Okay,
I created a character that was to kind of poke fun at a lot of the icons and idols I actually love and grow up idolizing. I feel like laughter and comedy sometimes is the best way to connect to people, the best remedy for, distance. It's to get people together. So we love to laugh. And so I was just being creative. And it was kind of growing out of control, and it was really becoming something. And I was like, I don't know if this is really what I want to be remembered for. I was like, I want to actually come into my own artistically and speak from my heart and just relate on a different level. So I actually stopped doing Brittany Houston stuff, and I started writing, and I continued writing. And I was with a record label, an independent label for a while that was out of Japan, a dance label. And I recorded some dance music, some house music with a producer named Gomi. Mm-hmm. And that was cool for a while. We did our thing, and things kind of they grew out in different directions, and I realized that I needed to work with different people, and I wanted to grow in different ways. And I actually met my current manager / producer, and we have been rolling together for almost 5 years. He's been helping me really mold my sound and create and polish my brand. And I've just been like full Mila Jam for almost 10 years now. I've just been really working super hard to keep the goal and the dream of like doing my own thing, having my own voice as myself. That's what I want. And I never had a Mila Jam growing up. I was like, I hope that maybe I can reflect that to someone else who's out there who's younger than I am. Who
inspires.
For inspiration. Yeah,
inspire them, because I just want to list some of the stuff. Like you of course you did Rent.
I've danced for tons of people. I've been a backup dancer for like Jody Watley, Lady Kier, Deee-Lite. I've met and performed. I've opened for Natasha Bedingfield at one point. I've performed in Rent, the musical, the Broadway musical on tour. I worked with Mark Ronson. I was on the Lilly Allen Show. By the way, Mark Ronson, if you ever hear this podcast, we have to work together again. I'm so
Mark Ronson, you hear that?
The two producers that I really want to work with are Mark Ronson and Pharrell Williams. So Pharrell and Mark, we could make some magic happen. I know we can.
And you just answered one of my questions. I was going to ask you, like, what would be your dream collaboration? Mark Ronson, Pharrell, if you're listening. Matter of fact, we're going to hashtag you guys when it starts streaming.
I love the creative dynamic that they both bring to the table. Like, I think that they crossed genres so much that they've touched on every like sort of style, and they also put their little spin on it. And it's it's great music. You know, I mean, Mark Ronson did some great stuff for Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, he did.
Amazing stuff for Amy, you know, and like Pharrell is just iconic, and he's just a legend, a living legend in my
And like
opinion.
you said, like people with distinct voices, he has that distinct sound. Like you hear songs, you know it's him.
I consider his sound to be sort of like minimalist in a sense. He does like minimalist pop to me, or a minimalist hip hop. Like it's the choices of like instruments and sounds. It's not always about the most, you know, arrangements and the biggest sounds. It's always about the creative, like things that are just uncanny and weird almost and different.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that he did with like Gwen Stefani and like stuff that he's done with. I mean, the list is, I can't even name everyone.
You know what? You talked about 90s R&B, and actually one of the Pharrell songs that he produced that I've been listening to lately was you remember the song he did for Babyface, There She Goes?
Do I remember that song?
If you haven't heard it, you got to listen to it. Yeah, There She Goes. He did a song with Babyface. I think it was back in like the early 2000s. It's Babyface. It's a Neptunes. It's a Pharrell beat.
I love it.
And
Okay.
Babyface is, you can tell Pharrell wrote it because it's the way he's singing it and his cadence, the vocal tone. It's a pretty good song.
Okay, yeah, There She Goes. I'm gonna have to go into look at that one. I probably know it. I just haven't didn't think of it. But yeah, I'd love to work with them. And I'd actually really love to work with Max Martin.
Oh yeah, so that's Europe, right? Max Martin.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't heard that name in a while.
that's a late '90s, early 2000s name.
Yeah, because I know that's like the boy bands, Britney Spears.
Boy bands, yeah, and that's my era. You know, I mean, I'm a Britney fan. I grew up loving Britney. I'm a NSYNC fan. I'm who else from that era? Just I loved. I was just like learning about Nevaeh and like, you know, that sound, that sort of like pop hip hop sound.
Okay, Nevaeh, Don't You Mess With My Man.
Yeah, Aaliyah. Hello.
Oh yeah, Leah. Oh yeah, baby girl. So we have 5 minutes left, and before we go into your last song, which is A Time to Stay Alive, you mentioned something, and I wanted to expand further on that. What advice would you give somebody that looks up to you and aspires to be like you, like how you looked up to Whitney Houston and Brandy? What advice would you give them?
I would say that the journey is really important, but there's just as many lows as there are highs, and that the work, the love is always in the work. Like, we have to love the work. The passion is in the work. And if something is driving you and feeds you, your spirit, it's so important to stay focused on that feeling you get when you accomplish that, because there will be distractions, there will be disappointments, and things that will try to stop you. Yeah. And I think the work and the passion is really what gets you through that. And
last question, what do you want your musical legacy to be when it's all said and done? 50, 60 years from now, we're talking about Mila Jam. How do you want to be your musical legacy to be remembered? I just want to be remembered that in the time that I was doing what I'm doing now, in a time like this, where someone like myself specifically wasn't, you know, it was unique in its own way for me to be making music as Mila Jam, to be recording songs, to be on radio shows, to be influencing people on, you know, a scale that's growing. I mean, I just think that whenever someone else is around 60 years from now and whatever's different in whatever music is, it is the history lesson is, what was it like for that time? And I'm living it now, you know? And so I just want to be remembered for me being myself in my experience and really, really sharing that with the world. Wow. So, last song to close us out here on Deeper Than Music Radio. And thank you for taking the time. I know you have a busy schedule. Congratulations on your upcoming release. We're going to close it out with A Time to Stay Alive. And can you give us a background on this song? Yeah. This is our
motivation. This is our inspiration. Like this is we are the champions. Like we've got to moving and staying toward the light. This is all about the light. This is all about life. Is about staying alive, finding that passion and like move through it. And I hope it inspires everybody. And thank you for having me on here. I'm so glad I got to speak with you.
Not a problem. And one thing I forgot, because people are going to hear this, like, where can we find Mila Jam? Where is she at on social media? Shameless promotion.
Yes, the Mila Jam. I'm the only one. You can follow me on Instagram at the Mila Jam, THEMILAJAM. And I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, every major music platform. There is only one Mila Jam. And I'm on YouTube, Mila Jam Music. Follow me there, support me, and believe in yourself.
And there we go. And thank you for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, closing out with our special guest, Mila Jam, A Time to Stay Alive. And thank you for listening, Deeper Than Music Radio.
Can see the stars at night when the city lights for the glow, no home in our eyes, fighting left to be right in this ring called life, dodging every fear in our sights. I just want to make it past, wait till with you on my back. When worlds collide, some things fall, some things rise. We were chasing fire, but we only turned to dust. We had searched for miles, but our love would only rust. We were no lifting us higher, so much more than lust. It's a time to stay alive, 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 time to stay alive. We took flight to the top, through the clear ceiling, broke the mold, fulfilled your fantasies. What you left proved me right. What's love without a fight? But the kind you hide in the dark of night.